And we are live! Yay! Hello, everyone! Hello! I'm really, really excited about today. This is the first time that I'm hosting on my channel, so welcome, everyone. I'm Jane from the Bookaholic, this channel. And yes, I'm very excited about today because today we will be discussing Midnight in Everwood by M.K. Kuzniar. How do I say it? I'm not sure.
This was me in my reading vlog. I was saying this in my reading vlog, and I was like, I think it's Kuzniar, but
I think
I'm
it's
not sure.
Kuzniar. Yes,
Yeah.
something like this. We will be discussing Midnight in Everwood, which is exciting. Like, I feel it's a very wintry and Christmassy read. So it's very good for December. So I think that maybe we can go over, everyone can introduce themselves.
Sure.
Yeah. Want to start, Steph? You're here.
Sure.
Here.
Hey everybody, my name's Steph from the channel Coffee Over Apples. I read just about everything, but mostly sci-fi, horror, manga, anime, art stuff. Come hang out. I'll see you later. Go to Esme.
Hello, I am Esme over on Bookish Buddies, which is a channel I have with my best friend Femke. Opposed to Steph, I read no sci-fi, no horror, no manga. I read fantasy and surprisingly contemporary romance and a lot of murder mystery. So over to Sasha.
Hello everyone, so I'm Sasha from The Wild Sasha. So I read a lot of fantasy and sci-fi, mostly middle grade and adult. I read YA less and less and less. I have an obsession with portal fantasy and polar fantasy. So, yep.
That's amazing. I'm just tweeting that we are live.
Yeah, I just tweeted it as well.
Amazing. And yes, I'm Jane. I'm reading, actually, I feel like almost everything except classics and not a lot of middle grade. So I read everything that is not non-fiction or classics. Sometimes I read middle grade. I will try to read more in 2022. So yes, I love all genres, which is fun. And yes, I'm really excited about today, and I'm really, really interested to see what we all are thinking. Hey, hello.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Yes. So maybe we can talk a little bit about our overall thoughts about the book and maybe which star rating we did give the book. Yes, I'm a little bit nervous to know everything. I can start, maybe.
Break the ice, Jane. Break the
ice. Okay, so for me, it's going to be, unfortunately, the third read of this book club that I'm giving 2 stars. Yes. Yes, I actually gave all the books so far 2 stars, but that's okay. Hopefully next month will be better. I do think it was an interesting choice because it's a nutcut retelling and everything, but I have a lot of thoughts about the book. I read it in the audiobook. I actually really enjoyed the narrator. I just don't really enjoy the story. I feel like in overall, the writing was really, really pretty. I just didn't, I felt like it was too much at some points. And I feel like the main thing that made me not enjoy the story were the characters and the character development. I just feel like it was most of the characters were pretty one-dimensional for me. I didn't really felt any depth. So this is why I didn't really enjoy it. But yes. Oh, you gave it 3 stars. Okay, it's nice. Yeah, it's very fair. So, Steph, what about you? Because you are here.
Hi. I mean, I think, as you could tell, as we were going around and saying what kind of books we like, that this was totally not in my wheel. I would not pick this up on my own. So I also gave it 2 stars, like Jane. I feel like it's not a bad book by any means, and I think it has an audience. I'm just not in that audience, and that's okay. So there's still I think a lot of things to talk about, like Jane said. Just meh. here.
Mhm.
How about you, Esme?
I can joke around and say I gave it 5 stars, but I definitely didn't know. I would say 2.5, but rounding it up to 3.
Mhm.
Also not my favorite. So like I didn't hate reading it, but I also didn't love reading it.
Mhm.
Pretty mediocre, I would say.
Mhm.
What
Yeah,
about you?
feels like a 2.5, 3 stars.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Mm.
Sasha.
So I DNF'd it.
Wow. How much did you read?
I read like 150 pages. And honestly, as Steph said, there is nothing wrong with the book. It's not a bad book. Jane,
Trust me,
you
there's
said
a lot
that
wrong with the book.
like I feel like that has been the case with every single book we have read so far. Nothing was wrong with the book, but it was not for us, let's say. It had a very pretty writing style, like flowery, whatever, but I felt like the atmosphere, the ambience was quite like magical, fairy tale-esque. And then the dialogue between the characters felt like so distant, and it kind of made sense because of when it was happening, but because of that I was just hella bored the whole time, and I wanted to continue reading it, but I was like, what is the point of finishing a book I'm not enjoying to give it 2 stars? It's not fair, and I don't rate the books that I DNF'd, so I feel like at least that's done.
Totally.
No, that's very fair.
Honestly, I really
Yeah.
thought about DNFing it also, but I realized that I enjoyed the moments when we were in the real life, in the real world more than the fantastical part. So I did a lot of like speed. You know when you listen to an audiobook really fast and most of it doesn't stick, but you're hoping that something sticks so you have something to talk about? I was just like had it in the background, like, okay, something is gonna happen. And I remember some things happened. I was like, oh, that's cool. There's a little gore here. There's a little, little things happening. But then basically the parts that stuck the most were the beginning before she went into this fantasy place. And then after when
Yes.
she came back from the fantasy place, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Everything else.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Like, I also listened to the audiobook and I also like just listened to it. I did. I understood a lot because I was getting a lot what was happening, but I just feel like the plot in general was pretty basic. I don't know, like it was very, I know what's going to happen. Like it was very predictable to me, and I'm very agreeing with you that the start and the end, like.
Hi, can I help you? It's the dog. Okay, bye.
Oh, so cute. I love dogs.
Say bye.
So
Sending you
cute.
home.
Yeah,
Hello.
really cute.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, Jane.
oh, so cute. Yeah,
They're like,
so
home. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So like, I just wanted to say that I agree, like about the start and the end. Like, I feel that the start was too long because when we got to the fantastical place, I realized that the real world isn't the majority of the plot. So I didn't understand why it took so much time to get to the majority of the plot, but I did enjoy the real world so much more. And only in the start I was intrigued, like until we got to the other world.
Also, if someone says it's butterscotch or sugar or chocolate this, I'm killing myself. Literally. Like
Yes.
every single time he's got butterscotch colored eyes. Oh, we're drinking melted chocolate. I am dusted in sugar. Like you're not a gingerbread man. Like it drove me absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, and the marzipan. Like, no.
So much
No. So bad. Sorry. I just every single time I rolled my eyes, and my eyes have still been going left and right.
Yeah, there is a way to do it. Like as I said at the very beginning, I love portal fantasy. I just love these books. But this one, when that happened, I was just already so bored that I didn't even want to continue with it. And as you just said, Esme, like the comparison with like food, whatever, in Beneath the Sugar Sky, whatever, it works. Like in the Wayward
Yes.
Children series, it works because it is well done. But here it was so weirdly done that
Yes.
you just didn't see the point of it, and it was too repetitive and too, I don't know.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
It
So
drove
I
me
have a
absolutely
question for you
nuts.
guys then, because like this, the most of the fantasies that I do read are like high fantasy with like multi-book series or has a lot of
Mhm.
world building. Like I need a lot of world building in order
Mhm.
for me to enjoy a fantasy, because I like a clear structure of like, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. So what category is this? Is this like magical realism? Is it soft fantasy? Is it
I
like
will check on Goodreads, like what Goodreads says. I think that it's like it's
For me,
supposed to
it's
be an
not-
adult fantasy.
Yeah, I think
but
it's
I'm not
adult.
sure about the adults either.
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah,
me, it
it
felt
felt
like
to me like a
YA.
YA. Yeah.
It is not high fantasy, definitely not, because it is portal fantasy. Portal fantasy is when there is a door to another world, so it cannot be magical realism because of that.
Mm.
Mhm.
I would say like a mild fantasy because the magic is somewhere else. It's still not urban fantasy, which is different.
It
It's also
felt like
historical fiction.
Historical fiction,
Yeah.
yes, because it is a retelling, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
but
prefer the original Nutcracker or the Barbie
Yes, I
Nutcracker.
actually want to talk about the retailing part because, like, I'm familiar with the Nutcracker story. For it was so many years since I like saw the movies and heard things about it. So I read again the Nutcracker retailing, and from what I remember, it felt to me more Alice in Wonderland than the
Yeah.
Nutcracker.
that's
She
the
also
nonsense.
mentioned it at one point that she feels like Alice walking through this like falling through the rabbit hole, I think. She
Mhm.
literally says it at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
I
why
missed
it's
it.
so basic.
Alice in Wonderland is also better.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's of
I
It is
love Alice
also
in
better,
Wonderland.
but the comparison makes sense because it
Yes.
is
Mhm.
some kind of nonsense world. As like
Yeah.
here with the Wayward Children series, you have the compass, whatever. I keep comparing everything to that series.
You do. You do. But it's valid
It's
in
also a
this.
portal fantasy, so
Yeah.
it's logical
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
would compare it
Very
to another
logical.
Yeah.
portal.
If
Yeah.
it's more specifically for Alice, it made me think of the movies that I think Tim Burton made
Tim Burton,
recently, where Alice
Yeah.
has to go back and fight, or like the main character who has to be the one to save everyone and the foretelling whatever, and is very similar plot structure.
Yes, yes. All the plot really reminded me Alice in Wonderland, like to the amount that it feels to me more Alice in Wonderland retelling than the Nutcracker.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
is it just me, or I feel like there was usually with the villains, there's a thing sort of there's something driving them. With
Yeah.
this one, I was just like, why are these girls here? Like, there's nothing
Mhm.
apart from the princess whose name I can't pronounce to save my life. Like, she was there because he wanted her as his bride, and he's angry about that. Logical.
Mhm.
With the others, I just don't understand it. Like, there's no reason to. I don't know. I just really, really didn't get his point of view. Like, usually there's something that happened to them, or I don't know, they've become angry over something, or there's something driving them. And with this, it was like, are you literally just like your soldiers, just made out of wood and engines? Like,
Yes, I feel like most of the characters didn't had anything like any internal conflict, and the characters really felt one dimension to me. And the only character that had some character development, and I also don't think it was enough for me to be interested, was the main character. But I didn't like the main character at all. Like, I didn't like her personality. I felt like she was ignorant, innocent, I didn't like her personality at all. I didn't like her choices and like what she was doing. So the only character that a little bit changed, I don't feel like it felt really genuine, the change and the character development that happened in the book. Like, I just feel that I listened to something and I read something, but I didn't understand the feelings of the character, and this is like what makes a book. So yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I did really enjoy the meaning behind it of like women choosing themselves over what their family wants and stuff. So I think the main, like the big main part of this is the main character overcoming what her parents want her to do and what she wants to do, which I enjoyed or appreciate that sort of female empowerment. But I've seen it done a lot of times, and a lot of times I've seen it done better.
Yeah.
Like there's yeah.
Can we talk fully spoilers here now?
Yeah, so like just say that we are talking full spoilers now. So
I think
if you don't want spoilers,
I think it's difficult to talk about this book without spoilers.
Yeah. Just because like most of the non-spoiler stuff is like, if you know the Nutcracker, you got the story. So like,
yeah.
But yeah, obviously I have not finished the book, so I don't know how it ends exactly. I try to find like some reviews and whatever. But as you said, Esme, like in many books you see the main character in that time period or whatever, like battling the fact that her parents want something to do, like with her, the marriage, the kid, whatever, and she's fighting it. But the way it was done, for me, it didn't make sense. Like, because first, the main character, I don't know if she was innocent or she was up and down. I don't know. I didn't understand where she was going with it. She didn't fight her parents in a smart way. That's actually what got me. And I've read so many books where the mom says, yeah, but don't worry, I will teach you how to get what you want from your husband after. And I was just like, that's way too easy. Like, you see that so many times, and I just wanted something different, you know, like for once a character that said, yes, I would have done things differently, or I would have fought my parents or whatever, you know, but not just the mom, yeah, it's going to be okay because I'm going to teach you what to do after. And I'm just like, it's not about a woman manipulating men all the time, you know. I mean, it's like working together, and that pissed me off. Like,
you would have really hated the ending then. That's a good thing you didn't finish.
So for Sasha's merit here, basically the ending is the king gets defeated. He gets murdered by Delara or something. Delaria.
Yes, one of the girls.
One of the girls, like the fairy one, the immortal one. So when she cuts him down, she becomes queen. The other girl, who's a princess of this Krakadackle land or whatever it was called, goes back because war and everything.
Everwood. The land is called Everwood.
No. The kingdom that she was in was Everwood, and then the kingdom next to it was like crack something. I don't remember the name. It was like Nutcrackery-ish. Anyway, she goes back there. Then I think, or I might have hallucinated this, I don't know. She basically is left behind with this Captain Levot or something, or whatever you pronounce his name as. She then, I think, continues to have sex with him and then goes back to her own world, where she basically defeats this Drosselheimer person by throwing some kind of dust over him that she got at the market, and he just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and then sort of flies away. Who was also the big inventor of everything in Everwood. And then she basically decides, like, oh, I'm gonna go away from home, and she's been, of course, accepted to this Royal Academy thing of dancing. And so her brother's like, well, I'll postpone our parents so you can pack. And she basically just storms out, and her father's like, you're disowned. And she's like, well, fuck it. I'm into the wind. I'm watching the snow. And she also has a mouse called Marzipan in the end. Something along those lines.
Yep.
Yes, she like got back to the real world, and the time hasn't passed in the real world. So she got back to the same point where she left. And this man, like the
Drosselmeyer, I think his name is.
Yes, like the toy maker, he got disappeared, and the family was confused because nobody understood where he was disappeared. So, and then like the main character just decided to leave her family. I like the idea that she left her family and went to pursue her dream, but the execution of the end, like, it could be better. And again, I just feel like all the scenes and everything in the book, something didn't felt real to me.
So I don't know if I misunderstood this either, but like when she comes out of the fantasy world and she's on the stage, whatever, the Drosselmeyer guy, he's going, "Oh yeah, I like fabricated this whole fantasy world, and I was watching you the whole time." And basically, she watched him have sex with the nut. He watched her have sex with a nutcracker, and then she makes him like,
Yeah.
like whatever Esme said, like she throws something on him, whatever. And then I feel like the way that she goes to her parents and all the whole thing is resolved in 2 seconds. She goes, "I'm not marrying this guy," and she makes an announcement on stage like, "I got accepted to the dance academy. I'm not gonna be a wife." And everyone's like, "Oh, get out of my house!" And she's like, "Okay." And then that's the end of the story.
You won't get a penny from me. Well, that's good because I never wanted it anyway.
See that? I think this goes back to what Sasha was saying. I could not stand her as a main character.
Yeah,
She
same.
was so privileged and just she's so innocent because of she's sheltered, but also so spoiled and privileged at the same time.
She was really selfish and spoiled, and because of it, she didn't have awareness for a lot of things.
Yeah.
So because of it, I felt like some things she was innocent, like she just didn't understand how the world's supposed to work, and that what she's doing is not smart. I really felt like she wasn't making any smart choices.
Yeah, and I feel like there was supposed to be some character growth throughout the story, but whatever character growth there was for me went out the window as soon as she was like, "Well, screw you guys. I don't need your money. I'm gonna bum it out as a ballerina." And it's like, that's not how that works.
Also, that final conversation that she has with these, I think one of them's called Harriet, and then you have another one of these dancers, and she literally has this conversation, and one of them is like, "Well, living without money is horrible," and I was like, "Is this your entire point? Like, what? You'll still be housed, like you'll still have some accommodation, and you'll still have a room to your own, and you know, clothes and food. Like, what is your point?"
Yeah, I don't think she, even while she was in the Everwood world, whatever, I don't feel like she learned enough about the values.
Full in a conversation, and she's like full in a sentence, like, "Hello." I love it.
Like she did. I don't feel like she went through enough to understand the value of what it means to work hard.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
also, the way in which they escaped, like, I feel like partly that's sort of outdone with the fact that this king knew what they were doing, but how is it so easy to both distract him, get something out of his pocket, then go into his sort of, I don't know, what is it? Like a locked room kind of thing below his throne or something, get all of this stuff out, including an entire suit of armor, not be spotted, mind you this, not be spotted, up until the point that I have to put something back into his pocket.
Was it the author's debut? Like first book?
It was.
I think.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I actually read a few. I read a few reviews on Goodreads, and a lot of people say that it feels like a debut, and there is a lot of mistakes that new authors make. Like I read a little bit the reviews, and a lot of people say that it feels like a debut, and that I saw so many reviews about the too many descriptions of food. So Esme, you're not the only one. I saw so many people not love it.
The butterscotch thing, like his eyes look like melted butterscotch.
She was so thirsty for the nutcracker dude. I was like,
so thirsty. Also, it felt so weird to have a character that is blushing at the sight of ankles to all of a sudden be like, "You know what? I will have sex with this guy before I go, because you know what? I'm going back to my own world." I was like, what?
That's what I said. She was up and down, like opposites all the time.
She didn't felt real.
No, she did not.
Like, I did enjoy the other girl. I think her name was like Delara or something. I love that she was like calling out all of the bullshit that this person was doing, because at one point she was like, "Well, you have true feelings for this guy," and she's like, "Nah," and she's like, "You just have to be, you know, completely ravished at some point." And I was like, I enjoy this person. She was funny. At least he had to know some spike or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is her debut in adult fantasy.
No, I
Tried to
get it.
think middle
Like,
grade.
first for me, it felt like YA. Obviously, I have not finished, but
Mhm.
from the very beginning, it felt like YA, whatever. And I feel like when you have that kind of writing style, like a little bit like Tainy Laner, wow.
Lady Sailor.
Lainey like, Prince the Dreamer, you have to have a strong plot with believable twists and things in it, because the first, the writing style is really not for everyone. But then if the writing doesn't make sense, that doesn't catch your interest, you're gonna lose like the reader. And I feel like, but it wasn't bad. It's just like, it feels like a debut.
Yes.
I mean, it was.
Actually,
I did enjoy
looked
myself
now.
a lot. Sorry, go ahead, Jane.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I looked now and I don't see any other book in Goodreads for this author except Midnight in Everwood. So I'm not sure if she wrote any middle grade, and maybe this author, I'm not sure like if they like wrote any middle grade, because it doesn't seems like this in Goodreads. Maybe they had another name. I'm not sure.
Probably another name. Yeah.
Yes, maybe, but yes, it felt like a debut.
Yeah.
So, and on a positive note, like I know we said in the beginning that it's not a bad book, even though we were all just like ripping it to pieces. But it's for I feel like it's for a very specific audience. Like if you're looking for a wintry, Christmas-y, maybe weird or magical, and you're really hungry, like
you're really hungry.
You're really hungry. Like this book.
Yeah. I feel like I went after I finished and I looked online for other reviews and I saw a lot of 5 stars.
Yeah.
So it has an audience somewhere.
I feel like a lot of people who normally read mostly middle grade will really enjoy this. That's what I think. Like with
new readers, you know, when you haven't read for a long time and you're getting back to reading whatever, because I love portal fantasy, I love polar fantasy, like wintry setting. It is for me. I usually love retellings. This one didn't work for me. Like, so I feel also the mindset has to do with like how you enjoy books. And to be fair, I've been reading most like more and more adult high epic fantasy and hard sci-fi. So I feel like comparing that one to my usually new types of books, I mean, that I'm reading, it's not fair.
No.
Because my
it's like comparing this to City of Brass, which is not fair.
Different.
So,
yes, I feel like just the mindset of the story and the mentality of the characters didn't felt mature enough for me. And something like just in how the characters acted and their dialogues and everything, it didn't felt real to me because it wasn't as mature, and like the characters didn't, like the main character didn't think as complicated as a real person for me. And like, again, I don't think it's a bad book. I actually think that the writing style was really good until, like, the writing style was good. I enjoyed it until they got to the fantasy world, because after it, all the food description and everything, just, it felt too much at that point. Like all the magical description, just something didn't felt genuine to me. But in the start of the book, I really enjoyed the writing, like the writing style. I feel like it's really beautiful writing. Like the writing is pretty. It also like felt to me like in historical fiction, and like it felt magical, the writing, and the narrator was good. So maybe I enjoyed the writing because of it.
Yeah, the narrator for the audiobook did an amazing job.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's also very. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sarsha.
No, just like the fact that it was a nutcracker retelling was matching the writing style, I feel.
Yeah.
Because of when it was written, you know, back in 1900. When was the story
Mhm.
again?
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was matching, but
Mhm.
I don't know. The characters were down for me.
Yeah, I think the writing in general, and the not necessarily the plot in itself, but I found the like the different types of bowls and like festive descriptions very inventive. Like having like I think there was like a ball with like ice and people were dressed up as snowflakes and stuff. It's not the way that she described it, but the descriptions of those are definitely points in sort of Everwood that I did really enjoy reading about, like all of these different bowls and the way in which those were all portrayed. But I felt like it felt very flat in the sense that was like, oh, they have this ball, she's forced to dance, they're then locked up in their room until they get a new dress, and then they do it again. And I would have liked a bit more, like you have that scene where she goes down to sort of the winter garden to meet the captain. I would have liked a lot more of that. So sort of like the sneaking out, checking out the palace, because having a palace that's completely made up of ice and it doesn't melt, I think there were so many missed opportunities. Same goes for I really expected, or at least hoped, I didn't expect it, I thought, considering how few pages there were left, but I would have liked them to escape earlier and then sort of go through certain different worlds together, like the three. I really liked their dynamic of like one of them being a total grump but has a tiny little heart, and the other one is more royal, and then sort of the innocent one. I really liked that dynamic, and I would have liked them to go on adventures together, because those were definitely things I really enjoyed.
So stronger plot and different like timeline or pacing.
It was just so boring. Like it was so like it literally, as Steph and Jane also said, like you have the beginning of like everything is interesting and you get this new inventor who makes things. She comes into Everwood and it's like everything just happens at the same pace. There's nothing going up or down. It's like and then she goes home.
Yeah.
It's a really good way to explain it.
Is like
It's frustration.
Sorry.
It
had so, like, the thing is, it had so much potential.
Yeah.
That's what I'm so sad about. Like, it had so much potential to be more.
Yeah, I agree.
The beginning should have been shorter, and then all the ups and downs when in Everwood, because usually that's how it works. See, she writes the name
of
okay. I'm interested to check which middle grade.
I might, like, I don't really read middle grade, but I can see this author. It makes sense that they write middle grade, so I would be interested to read middle grade from them, because I would have a different.
The Ship of Shadows. That sounds really interesting.
Oh, the Ship of Shadows. Oh, that's her. Okay. That's
you read it?
Many people loved it, and I think that Gavin and Jade loved it.
I mean, I see Gavin and Jade's review literally down here. So both like 5 and 4 stars.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
I mean, Gavin literally says, "Here yay, here yay. This is the best pirate book I've ever read." Period. So I'm pretty sure he liked it.
Yes, it was 1 year ago. So yeah. Okay, interesting.
I really want to read that book. No.
Yeah.
There's a sequel as well.
I love that authors are trying to debut in different genres and different age groups. Like, it's really interesting. So also, if the first book wasn't perfect, and like again, some people rated it 5 stars. So like there is an audience for those stuff. So that's okay. But like I feel that it just felt like really an adult debut. Why a debut? I can get like why the characters didn't felt mature enough for me, because she probably used to write the mentality of middle grade. But that's interesting. Like, it's fun to see authors trying different stuff, and maybe her next books in YA adult will be better.
Okay, so I have a thought, but I don't know if it makes any sense. So I'm just going to speak it out and you guys tell me if it makes sense. But I feel like because the maturity of the characters wasn't there, I was forgetting a lot of the time that this is an adult book. So when something more adult themed would happen, it felt very out of place.
Yes, I really, really agree with you. It felt to me really YA. Like, yes, it felt to me like a YA, and I really agree with you on so many things. Just, yes,
Maybe
just
more
so many things.
like new adult. Is it like YA new adult like
Yeah,
new adult and
I
not
can
Maybe.
see this falling in that category, but it doesn't feel like that to me either. It just feels like someone took like, okay, these are adult things. These are things that happen that like only
Mhm.
adults would know about. And here's like a younger story and characters, and I put them together, and you've got like new adult. And I don't think that that's how that works either. You know, it has to be like a balance. It
Yeah.
didn't feel balanced to me. I was just
Yeah.
I remember zoning out during the audiobook, and then something happened, or like sacrifice, was it the children and the vultures or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. What? Like why is this happening?
Yeah.
Also, was that the only one that was a little bit sad about the execution? Because they literally had this guy walk upstairs and then pushed him off.
I was like, okay.
It could have been better. I mean, a lot of books, I feel like murder makes a lot of books better. In this one, it doesn't change anything.
Doesn't change
It's a
anything.
little bit like Peter Pan. Like you push the kid to fall in the crocodile's mouth, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, logistically though, wasn't okay. It was snowing sugar, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So
everyone
Yeah,
should
people
be
were being
really
dusted. They were
okay.
dusted in
They were
sugar.
dusted in sugar, but the sugar was not sticky. Like, they're running
No.
around, they're probably all sweaty, they're covered in sugar, and they're just not doing
Also,
it.
It's old now. It's not
this moment, like, you have this very fantastical, innocent character, and then someone says to her, like, she's covered in sugar, and I think this captain literally tells her, yeah, but if you're covered in sugar, that demands to be licked off or something. I don't know. And I was like, what?
Wow.
What is happening?
Something along those. I'm not hallucinating, right? That literally it was something along those lines, and I was like, what?
You're not hallucinating.
So,
Everyone was so thirsty.
Was it a wild smut?
This entire book literally feels like that TikTok sound, like that. I just hallucinated. What? I feel like this. Like,
yeah, I feel like I can take what Esme described as the plot being like this, but make the age group and like the age of the characters feels like this.
Yes. We need the plot to go like this, not the characters' ages.
Yes, the character, like another, like in the end of the story, you like the main character, she supposedly made some character development, but because every other chapter the characters felt different, it didn't really felt like there was a development because they just didn't feel the same person like the whole book.
also, her just being all innocent and all of a sudden telling him, like, you can't keep your eyes off me, Captain. And I was like, am I reading the same book? Or
Yes, they were like not the same characters, like it just didn't feel to me the same person.
And also in the end, maybe it's I've been reading too many contemporary romance things. I don't know, but in the like you have at the end you have the sex scene, and I was like, am I just imagining things here, or am I just used to it being spelled out or something? Because I was like, wait, what? What is happening? Are they just kissing? Is it more? Like, I need things to be at least spelled out a bit more than this
Yes,
to
it
understand.
wasn't descriptive like the
And I mean,
sex scene.
I'm not stupid, so I usually know, what's happening. Maybe I'm just so used to contemporary romance spelling it out and having chapters and chapters of smut, but like,
I would have preferred if there was more to that scene. Like, I felt like it was a very quick.
Yeah.
I heard they were leading up to. I was in my kitchen. I was cooking something, and I was listening. Like, oh, they're leading up to something, and then it's just like, okay, we're done. And
we're
then she's like,
cuddling.
yeah. Like, we're done.
Yeah, it was so quick. Like it didn't really happen.
Like, it literally felt as if she was like, I'm going back to my own world, and I might not come back here because the door might vanish, so I might as well.
Yeah, it was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yes,
I'm
I
glad
just
I
feel
did
like
not finish
there
it.
was so many emotions. Like there wasn't any emotions. Like I just felt that it lacked a lot of emotion. All the book. That's why the first part felt more fun because we felt like the emotions of the character that she didn't want to marry and she really wanted to dance, and we felt a passion for. But in the second half where she was in this land, I didn't felt really emotions, and that's the main reason that I didn't enjoy it.
But even at the very
Especially-
beginning, she was like, I don't want to become a wife. But why? Is it just for dancing? Or was there another reason? Like,
Right.
I didn't get her. I didn't
It would have
understand
been a
why
lot.
she didn't want.
It would have been a lot cooler if she were gay, like her brother. That would have been
Yeah.
cool. Like
That
you could
would've
have
been
had
a
this
lot
really
better.
cool thing there
Mhm.
between I don't know her and one of the other girls.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need the
Mhm.
captain. I
Yeah.
mean, I get why he's there. Otherwise, they couldn't have escaped or something. But in the end, I don't think they even needed the clothes that much.
I actually
like-
want to say that it was really cool that her brother was gay, like because it's
Yes.
historical fiction, and we saw also a little bit of the struggles of him in this
Yeah.
time. So that was really cool. And again, another reason that I enjoyed to the start, and then it just got worse. So yes.
And speaking on the point of emotions, in the end, when she was just like, okay, well, guess I'm not with a rich family anymore. I'm going to go be a ballerina. And everything was like set for her. The lack of emotion there, too, because
Mhm.
I don't think anyone who chooses or would choose to just leave their family for positive or negative reasons, that's a very heavily emotional
Yeah.
like experience and topic. And she was just like, bye.
Also,
Yes,
the
she was
fact
like-
that she calls her parents Ida and Theodore. Like, I would at least expect father and mother.
Yes, so like I also didn't understand it. Sometimes there is people that don't call their parents father and mother, and they call their first name because they don't feel
Psychopaths.
as connected to them. Like there is it happening in the world and in books, but if it's going to this to the state when the main character doesn't feel like those are her real parents, please tell us why.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't explained. And yes, I feel like the end she was just so quick about leaving and so okay with it. And like yes, it felt a little bit like a middle grade that everything's going to be okay, but like she would leave and it would be really hard for her. So it was really weird
Yeah,
for me that she didn't felt any emotions. It just
Yeah.
happened so quick. Like I feel that
Like-
so many things in the book happened so quickly, and because I listened to the audiobook, it made me miss so many scenes because they were just so short.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, the chapters are really short.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
that's something I
Mm.
love. Short chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helped.
This
Otherwise, I
book
might have
feels-
DNF'd as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
This
makes
book feels
Yeah.
more like Nutcracker inspired than a retelling to me. Yes, I
Yeah.
totally agree with you.
yeah.
It feels to me like an Alice in Wonderland
Yeah.
retelling inspired by the Nutcracker.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Alice in Wonderland in a Nutcracker setting.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I would
Yes,
have
I would-
liked to see? Oh, go ahead, Jane.
No, yeah, no, I didn't want to say anything.
I would have liked to see more, like cut out a good 20% of the middle of the book. We didn't need all that fantasy stuff. Like, give me more at the end after she leaves her parents' house, after she becomes a ballerina and she's finally on her own and her little like privilege bubble pops. The struggle of trying to live on her
Yes.
own, and then maybe like she goes back to Everwood and she's a different
Yeah.
person, and they reconnect and he makes her life better. I don't know. Give me
I would have, yeah. Also, the fact, coming back to what Jane just said about the her showing no emotions. She literally got disowned, walks out, and she's like, "Oh, it's snowing." I'm not exaggerating. It's true. She
That's
literally
so
like her
impersonating.
father's like, if you leave now, you can never come back. She's like, fine with me. Walks out and she's like,
Yes,
"Oh,
her
no."
mother was like, I'm not like she wasn't crying or she was about to cry. Like I'm not sure, but her mother was like feeling sad because her only daughter is walking away, and like just the main character was okay. Yeah, it's oh my god, white Christmas. That's amazing.
Okay, you just described me. Like, I can have the worst day ever. You can talk to me about someone who just died. If I see snow, I only see snow.
Yeah, but if
I
you
will
would have been, but the thing is, I am the same. But if you had been truly through everything she would have, you would have
Yeah.
not. At least, like, you probably would have gone out, but like, oh well, my life sucked, but at least it's snowing.
Yeah, but as we said from the very beginning, she was freaking spoiled. She lived in a bubble. So the day she left, what could happen? Like never, like nothing happened to her. Like when she was with her parents, you know what I mean? It was all butterflies, unicorns, whatever. So she expects the same thing, and she expects life to be on her side, kind of thing, because she
Yeah.
got at the academy, like school, dancing, whatever. So what bad could happen, like, you know?
Also, the fact this woman packs one bag. What does she do? I take some of my most expensive clothes. Because why not? It was like, don't you need like hardy stuff? I mean, it's the middle of winter. What about a sweater?
I mean, you could say
Pair of comfy
I can
boots.
sell them, like, so I can sell the most expensive thing to actually afford a life outside of the house. No,
I don't think that was why.
Well, she
Yeah,
didn't she,
so,
didn't
like,
she
that's
sell
a
her
really good
Kuzniar bracelet
explanation.
or something like that at one point?
What?
Yes, like it's a
have
good
so many bucks
explanation why she took expensive stuff, but just
I
what?
mean, it would make sense, but
you know what I'm saying? You have so many bots in the chat today. It's
Yes, I'm blocking
Yes,
everyone. I
on.
don't know what's happening today. Like it's
it
already the
has been
fourth
the
one.
case on every single live show
I
I've
know
been
what it is.
Really?
I know what it is.
like-
We're reading a nutcrackered inspired book.
Yes, you're right. You're right, because like it didn't happen to any live that I was in the past, but sometimes it happens in videos. So maybe it's because the nut. Like you're right. Maybe it's because of it. Yeah.
Probably right.
I don't know. I had to make that pun. I just had to.
Wait, but like the live, it's like midnight in Everwood live. I don't think that I wrote the nutcracker anywhere. Also, not
I mean,
in the
maybe it's the
description.
wood part.
I say that was great. I give it to you.
I'm sorry, I'm on a roll today.
So good. Well, can I say I'm very happy with this, because I was so worried that I was gonna come in and be the one that was like, I didn't like it again, but I'm so happy.
Also, Jane, can we talk about the fact that we agree on a fantasy book?
Yeah, it was also like we agreed also on The Wolf and the Woodsman.
Yes.
It's like our second book that we are agreeing on.
Does
Which
this
is
mean from now
yeah.
on that we've had all of the mediocre books out of the way?
I really, really hope so. Yes, like the next book is in 2022. It's a new year, new luck.
New year, new me.
It's also like Ruth Ware's book. I usually enjoy her writing, so hopefully it will be good.
I mean, Ruth Ware is definitely hit or miss with me, so there's a 50-50 chance.
I only had one book by her that I read that I actually gave 4 stars. Like most of them are 3.5, but it's still like enjoyable for me. Like it's still 3 stars. It's a nice book. Like it was nice to listen to. I'm not sad that I listened to it. By the way, I'm listening to Ruth Ware's book on audiobook because her narrator is amazing. One of the best narrators that I ever listened to. All of her books are the same narrator. Imogen George, I think is her name. She's so good. Like she's amazing. I really love her. So I'm also planning to read In a Dark Wood in an audiobook. And it's also on Scribd. Like I think most of our books are on Scribd.
Yeah, most of them are.
Like the audiobooks. Yeah.
Convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read The Woman in
just so you know.
Cabin 10 on Scribd, I think, and I own One by One.
Mm-hmm. You didn't like those?
I liked One by One. I didn't like The Woman in Cabin 10.
For me, it's like One by One was 3 stars. The Woman in Cabin 10 was 3.5 stars. So I like The Woman in Cabin 10 better.
It's on Scribd. I got it. I'm so
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. I'm also planning to read it on Scribd. Her narrator is so good. We're going to talk about it next month. But you're going to enjoy the audiobook.
Can we read something like extra fun for February just to level it out?
So far, most of suggestions were contemporary romance. I'm not sure how Steph will feel about it. Like Sasha,
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
a
sure if
direct
you-
DNF for me.
Honestly, like I'm okay with all genres until we will read a classic, and then I will be just, oh my god, I can't read 10 pages. Like, what am I doing? So yes, except
No, that's going to be a fun
classics,
challenge, like discoveries. But usually romance, contemporary, they DNF for me.
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah.
The only author that I've thoroughly enjoyed as for like contemporary romance has been Talia Hibbert in last
Oh.
year. And that was
She's
it.
the author that I don't like. I read all the Brown Sisters trilogy. I loved only the second book. I don't get a hype. I don't love the writing. I'm
So
sorry.
I haven't read the Brown Sisters yet, but I did read one of her like novellas,
Mhm.
erotica novellas last year, and it was really good. So I was like, okay. I don't
So
know.
maybe we would like the Brown Sisters. Like it's so popular, a lot of people love it, and it's nice. Like I get why. So maybe we would enjoy it. And I just want to say that I love your Blackpink short. I noticed it right now. I love Blackpink, so yes. Love it.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge for Sasha, but that's okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we
We
would have
would
done
say,
this
like,
a year
we
ago, it
not-
would have been a challenge for me as well.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Only
And suddenly in November, also me and also Esme started to read so many like I always read a lot of romances. Like it's one of the genres that I read the most of. But like I was in such a romance reading mood in November, and also Esme, so it was really funny. Like we're agreeing on contemporary romance.
yes.
Like most of the contemporary romance that we both read, we are agreeing on, which is amazing.
Yep.
Well,
I
no
mean,
one
it's
said
funny.
it had to be a happy, like a like a contemporary. I might throw some sci-fi romance recommendations into.
You can like
Oh,
it
how cool would
sounds
it be to
interesting
read a
me,
dark
yeah.
romance fantasy?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
down for
yeah,
that.
it'll be cool. Yes, like we don't know which actually genre is going to be chosen. Like we have
No.
time to suggest more books.
I'm in the mood for that too. I mean, I literally got the sequel to From Blood and Ash.
Mm.
I haven't read From Blood and Ash, but I thought I would buy
Me
it.
neither, but I need to. I want to.
Is that a romance?
I mean, it's from what
Yes,
I
it's
know,
a
there's a lot
fantasy
of
romance.
smut in book one. So
Oh.
Yes, from
I
what I
own
understand, the whole series is a very high romance, like a lot of romance, very
Yeah.
hardcore romance, and it's a fantasy. And I heard amazing things also about the plot and also about the characters. So hopefully I will read it also soon.
Do
Yeah.
do
So
we have
we
any more
forgot-
feelings on Midnight Neverwood?
it.
So disappointed.
Yes, we actually forgot to do the opening of the book, so
Oh,
we're going to do
yeah.
the closing now.
job.
Yes, so
I will
we have
grab another
another
book.
thoughts, something before we close the book.
Just disappointed. Like I wanted to love it because I had
Mine is
never
not
read
copy.
like a
Yes, it's
retelling of
also-
Nutcracker, but that's it.
Yes, it's also a portal fantasy, which is like your.
How is yours so floppy, Steph? Like mine is so stiff.
Because it's huge. It's a mass. It's massive.
Sanderson. I see like the paperbacks are,
Yeah.
they are huge. This is the Midnight in Everwood, and it's so stiff, and I don't like it at all. I didn't read it physically because I don't love it physically. Yes.
Okay, ready?
Oh, wow, it's going to. Yes.
All right.
1, 2, 3, go.
Yay!
We did it.
We
Yay!
closed Midnight in Everwood. Oh, yes, so it was like, I feel like all of us didn't really like it, but that's okay. Like, it was nice to explore it. It was like, I hope that at least some of you enjoyed it. Like, I saw that Anda gave it 3 stars, so I hope that the other ones enjoyed it, hopefully. And
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah.
like, our 2022 books are going to be amazing. Like, let's hope.
I can't wait for a month where we're all just gushing. Like just want that
Yes.
to happen so bad.
Yeah.
Maybe
Would
it
that
will
be
be
too much to
the
ask?
contemporary romance month. We can.
Watch it ends up being the romance month. Oh, the plot twist of the
This will be really funny.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think that we are going to wrap up. It was really, really fun to talk about the book. Like those monthly live shows are really fun. Just such a fun time.
Yes.
And yes, uh, someone has something like last to say.
No, I think got it all
Happy
out.
New Year!
Happy New Year! Yay!
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year!
Year!
Yay! Yeah, almost. Yeah. Okay.
We're nearly
so,
rid of this very horrible year,
Yay! It's almost
Yeah.
done.
to put it
almost
mildly.
done. I'm so happy about it.
Oh.
And yes. So thank you everyone who joined us today, and thank you for being with us and discussing with us. And yes, we will see you in the next live show in the Dark Wood by Ruth Lehr. And yes, good luck everyone, and hopefully we will really love the next book. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.